Don't be this barber. We're just gonna call him Frank. Something like Frank Crispy Lines, the barber underscore. You see, Frank is always complaining, but complaining about the dumbest shit. He's complaining about other barbers, what they're posting on Instagram, about the enhancements they're using on their haircuts. Frank will even complain about how rich people are evil and how Elon Musk should have given away his $42 billion to somebody else and not to fucking Twitter. But what Frank loves doing the most, and it kind of secretly gets him off, is complaining about why he can't grow his business because of the barbershop environment or just the shop in general he's in. You see, Frank is behind the damn chair every fucking day, preaching to every damn barber in that shop about why they can't charge a certain price point in their city or in their location in general. Because of shit like people can't afford it. Because this isn't the type of city to do that in. You see, Frank says stupid shit like this city isn't like LA or New York. This is my favorite one. He'll say shit like it's different out here. Bullshit. There's even Franks that are like outside the US too, that like, let's say, you know, they're in like Canada or the UK or Australia or wherever the fuck they're at. And they'll be like, this isn't the US. You can't do that shit out here. And you know what fucking happens too? Other barbers around Frank start to actually believe this bullshit. They actually start believing this thing as like truth. So now Frank has his big loud mouth telling all these other barbers about his limiting beliefs that then other barbers are now starting to believe it. And then now those barbers are going to go ahead and tell their other barber friends those same damn lies. And their friends are going to tell their friends. And soon enough, you have this cesspool of average crabs in the bucket mentality. Do not be like fucking Frank. Instead, you should be like Alexander. I know, these are just like name placeholders. I couldn't come up with names. If you got a fucking better name, put it in the comments down below or something. You see, Alexander hears all that negative bullshit that Frank spews up. He doesn't listen to it. Instead of like just eating all Frank's bullshit up and kind of being a follower, he sees it for what it really is. He sees the actual problem that's going on. And it's not the fact that they live in a small city or the fact that their shop is not in a good environment. You see, Alexander sees that it's the mindset of all these barbers that are holding them back and making them more or less just like followers of bad advice. And honestly, Alexander kind of has a heart to heart himself. He sees that he's not being the proper business owner that will allow him to get higher paying clients, or hell, even getting a booked out schedule at his $30 price point. He doesn't point his finger at everybody else as to why his business sucks or it isn't at the 15K per month level. He doesn't have a pride or ego of like, oh, I can figure this shit out on my own if I just keep on grinding. And he's honest enough with himself that he sees what he's doing marketing wise for his business just flat out isn't working. Because for the last 6 months, he's been doing the same damn thing marketing wise, and his business has stayed at the same income level month after month. He's only gone up by 10 bucks in his price point in the last 2 years. And that was only because he said, I'm going with prices because of the pandemic, and not because he changed up his business model or that he knows how to get up to $100 per haircut. He just took advantage of an opportunity. And he's open to getting help he needs because, like, let's face it, he doesn't know what to do, but at least he knows what not to do. Alexander applies himself. He reaches out for mentors. He asks questions and begins his journey of scaling the business. So that way 6 months, 12 months later, when he's at that $100 price point and making 15K per month, he will have all the people that Frank infected with that little mind virus of the crabs in the bucket mentality coming up to him and asking him, how the fuck did you do that? To be honest, I used to be like Frank as well. And it really just took a couple years of realizing like what I was doing, it just was not fucking working. Like, I was fucked cutting hair like professionally for 2 years in the shop, and the shit just was not moving forward the way I wanted to. I was kind of like struggling still. Went from like 16 to 20 bucks in a 2 year span. And really the reason why I was like that is because like honestly I went to barber school with a lot of guys that were like mentally like Frank. Because honestly that's all there is in the barber industry. There's a lot of people who are just mentally want to hold other people back with their limiting beliefs of like what they think is possible. And to be honest, I mean, it's 2022 right now, and I still can look back at people who I got licensed the same time as me, who I worked with and went to barber school with, and they're still cutting hair. And that's not a bad thing, but they've only really increased their pricing by 10 bucks in that time frame from 2014, 2015 to 2022. And I don't say this as like a flex or as like to shit on anybody. I say this because all of us have the same like inputs of like that Frank mentality. And to be honest, this cycle still goes on in the barber industry. I see a lot of barbers who are still being held back, even when they're in a city that they can scale their business, but they have this limiting belief of like, oh, I can't do that because I don't live in a big city. Bullshit. You just really don't know how to run your business properly, or you don't know what to do to get it to that point. That's really like, if anything, that's the clarity point that a lot of barbers need. And I talk about this a lot about like, don't blame your city, don't blame your location, don't blame your barbershop. Point the finger at yourself. Look in the mirror. What are you doing wrong? What about what you're doing as a business owner? What about that is holding you back as well too, in terms of like your strategy and the business model that you're running? Those are the things that hold you back, not the location. We've had barbers that I work with that are in populations of less than 7,000 people, are able to scale them up to 50 bucks, looking to get up to 75 bucks. I don't think there's an excuse, to be quite honest with you. And if you need a plug, it's Luis Fades. He's from North Carolina. You can check him out on Instagram. Main purpose of the video is like, look, stop allowing other barbers to putting a ceiling on what you are able to do, and instead think for yourself. What do you want to do? And then start thinking, well, how can I do that? And then start thinking, do I have the tools and skill sets to do that? And if you don't, maybe you should look out and go and get some help from a mentor who's done that. Because following advice from people who have not gotten to the destination that you want to get to is not the smartest idea or plan. Yet most barbers do that because they are hopeful that like, oh, this guy talks a good game, he sounds confident. Just check the results. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to Frank. And understand that it's not your city or location or the barbershop, it's you. So start changing that thing.